Hey George, how was your day?
Hi, Linda. My day was busy, but good. How about yours?
Pretty good. I tried cooking a new recipe today.
Really? What did you make?
I made homemade pizza. It turns out it's easier than I thought.
That's awesome. How did it taste?
It was delicious. I added a lot of cheese and veggies.
Sounds yummy. I love pizza. Do you have any leftovers?
Yes, I saved some. Would you like to try it?
I'd love to. Thanks, Linda.
No problem. I'll bring it over tomorrow.
Great. I can't wait to taste it.
I hope you like it. You know, speaking of things that are easier than they seem, I was thinking about our conversation last week about improving our English speaking skills. Remember how you mentioned wanting to sound more natural, especially with an American accent?
Oh, that's been on my mind a lot. I had a video conference call with some colleagues from our New York office yesterday, and even though I understood everything, I still felt a bit self-conscious about my pronunciation and intonation. It's like my brain knows what to say, but my mouth just can't quite get the sounds right, or the rhythm feels off.
I totally get that. It's a common hurdle for so many non-native speakers. We learn grammar, we learn vocabulary, but the actual sound of the language, the musicality of it, often gets overlooked. That's why I wanted to talk to you about something called shadowing. Have you ever heard of it?
Shadowing. I think I might have come across the term once or twice, but I'm not entirely sure what it entails. Is it like repeating after someone?
Exactly. But it's more than just simple repetition. It's about mimicking a native speaker as closely as possible, almost simultaneously. You listen to an audio and you speak along with it, trying to match their pace, their intonation, their rhythm, and even their breathing. It's like being their vocal shadow. The goal isn't just to say the words, but to embody the way they're spoken.
That sounds intense and a bit challenging, to be honest. So it's not just about pronunciation, but the whole package.
Precisely. And that's why it's so effective, especially for developing an American accent, which often has very distinct intonation patterns and connected speech. Think about it. When you learn a language in a classroom, you often focus on individual words or sentences. But in real life, words blend together, syllables are stressed differently, and there's a natural flow. Shadowing helps you internalize that flow. It's like learning to dance by dancing, not just by reading about it.
That's a great analogy. So how does it specifically help with an American accent? Because I've noticed there are so many variations even within the US. Are we talking about a general American accent or something more specific?
That's a really good point. When we talk about an American accent, we're usually referring to what's often called General American or Standard American English. This is the accent you typically hear on national news broadcasts, in Hollywood movies, and in many popular podcasts.
It's not tied to a specific region, like a Southern drawl or a Boston accent. While regional accents are fascinating for clarity and broad intelligibility, focusing on General American is usually the most practical approach for learners.
Shadowing helps with this because it forces you to pay attention to the specific phonemes, the R sounds that are often pronounced more strongly than in British English, the T sounds that can become D sounds in the middle of words, like in water sounding like waiter, and the distinct vowel sounds.
I see. So it's about picking up those subtle nuances that make the accent sound authentic. I've always struggled with the R sound, for instance. It feels like my tongue just doesn't want to cooperate.
That's a perfect example of where shadowing can make a huge difference. When you shadow,
You're not just intellectually aware of the R sound. You're physically practicing making it in context at speed and with the correct intonation.
your mouth muscles and tongue start to learn the new movements required. It's muscle memory for your vocal apparatus.
Okay, I'm intrigued. So how exactly do you do it? What are the steps? Because mimicking simultaneously sounds a bit daunting.
It can be at first, but like any skill, you start small and build up. The first step is choosing your material. You want something that's clear, ideally from a native American English speaker, and something you find interesting.
Podcasts are excellent because they're often conversational, and you can find ones on almost any topic.
News broadcasts, audiobooks, even YouTube videos or scenes from movies can work. The key is that you have the audio and ideally a transcript or subtitles if you're just starting out.
Not just any random YouTube video with background noise.
You need to be able to clearly hear every word and sound. Once you have your material, let's say a short podcast segment, the next step is to listen to it normally first, just to understand the content. Don't worry about shadowing yet, just get the gist.
Got it. Comprehension first.
Then listen again, but this time really focus on the sounds. Pay attention to the speaker's intonation, where their voice goes up and down, which words they stress, where they pause. Notice the rhythm of their speech. Are they speaking fast or slow? Are they connecting words?
This sounds like active listening, which I know is important for general language learning, but here it's hyper-focused on the sound.
Precisely. Now comes the shadowing part. Play a very short segment, maybe just a sentence or two. As the speaker says the words, try to say them at the exact same time, matching their speed, their pitch, their rhythm, and their pronunciation. It's like being an echo, but a very precise one. Don't worry if you can't keep up perfectly at first. It takes practice.
So I'm literally speaking over them. That feels a bit weird.
It does feel weird initially. Almost like you're interrupting them, or yourself. But that's the point. You're training your brain and your vocal cords to process and produce the sounds almost reflexively, without the mental lag of translating or consciously forming each word. It bypasses that inner monologue that often slows us down.
Okay. So I'm trying to match their speed and intonation. What if I fall behind?
Oh, absolutely. That's a crucial step for self-correction. After you've shadowed a segment a few times, record yourself doing it. Then, listen back to your recording and compare it to the original. This is where you'll really start to notice the discrepancies. Maybe your T sounds aren't quite right, or your intonation goes up when it should go down.
I can imagine. It's always a bit jarring to hear your recorded voice, but I see the value it provides objective feedback.
Exactly. And don't be discouraged if you don't sound exactly like the native speaker immediately. The progress is incremental. The mere act of paying such close attention and physically attempting to replicate the sounds is what builds the neural pathways for better pronunciation and fluency.
So to recap, choose clear American English audio, listen for comprehension, then listen for intonation and rhythm. Then shadow short segments, and finally, record myself and compare. That sounds like a solid process. What are some of the biggest benefits you've seen or heard about from people who do this consistently?
The benefits are truly remarkable, George. First and foremost, as we discussed, it dramatically improves pronunciation. You start to articulate sounds more accurately, and those tricky sounds like the American R or the th become much more natural. But it goes beyond individual sounds.
How so?
It's the intonation and rhythm. This is where shadowing truly shines. English, especially American English, is a stress-timed language. This means some syllables are stressed more strongly and take longer to say, while others are reduced.
If you don't get the rhythm right, even with perfect individual sounds, your speech can sound flat or unnatural.
Shadowing helps you internalize that musicality, making your speech sound much more native-like and easier for native speakers to understand without effort.
That's a big one for me. I often feel like I'm speaking in a monotone even when I'm trying to be expressive.
And it also significantly boosts fluency. Because you're speaking along with the audio, you're practicing speaking at a natural pace. You're not pausing to translate in your head or search for words. You're training your brain to process and produce language more quickly and automatically. It builds speaking stamina, if you will.
It's not just about sounding better, but also about speaking more smoothly and with less hesitation.
And it expands your vocabulary, but in a very organic way. When you shadow, you're hearing words in context, used naturally in sentences. You're not just memorizing lists, you're also picking up common collocations, phrasal verbs, and idiomatic expressions that native speakers use all the time.
Yes, that's a huge plus. I often find myself knowing a word, but not knowing how to use it naturally in a sentence.
And this leads to another major benefit: enhanced listening comprehension. When you're shadowing, you're listening with an incredibly high level of focus.
You're dissecting the sounds, the pauses, the stresses. This intense listening training sharpens your ear for the language.
You'll start to pick up nuances you never noticed before, even in regular conversations. It's like your brain becomes more finely tuned to the frequencies of English.
So it's a virtuous circle. Better listening leads to better speaking, which in turn improves listening even further.
And perhaps one of the most underrated benefits is building confidence. When you start to hear yourself sounding more like a native speaker, when you notice that you're speaking more fluently and naturally, your confidence skyrockets. That self-consciousness you mentioned earlier starts to fade away.
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? To feel comfortable and confident using the language. I can definitely see how it would help reduce that filter of translation you sometimes feel.
We're diving into one of the most powerful methods for improving fluency, confidence, and pronunciation in English, the shadowing technique. And we're going to do it step by step, with a real passage as our practice text.
Shadowing is one of my favorite tools. I've used it myself, and I've taught it to learners, and I've seen people's accents transform almost like magic. It's not an overnight trick, but with patience, it works like nothing else.
Exactly. For today's practice, we'll be working with a simple passage called My House. It goes like this: My house. I live in a house. My house is small. My house has 2 bedrooms. My sister and I share the other bedroom. My house has a kitchen. My mom and dad cook dinner there every night. My house has a living room. My family watches television there every night. My house has a big bathroom. My house has a lot of closets. My house has a basement. My dad has a workshop in the basement. My dad makes wood furniture. My house does not have a second floor. My house has a garage. My house has a big backyard. My backyard has a maple tree. My backyard has a swimming pool. My backyard has a vegetable garden. My family likes our house. It's simple, but it gives us great material to practice rhythm, stress, intonation, and connected speech. So, Mark, before we dive into the text, let's define shadowing. What do we mean when we say shadowing?
Shadowing is a language learning technique where you listen and repeat at the same time, almost like an echo. The idea is to follow the rhythm and pronunciation of a native speaker with as little delay as possible. Instead of waiting until the sentence is over, you overlap. So you're speaking along with them, copying melody, timing, and even breathing.
And it's different from regular repetition, because with repetition, you listen first, then speak. With shadowing, you jump in immediately. That forces your brain to react quickly, to adjust your mouth muscles, and to mimic the American rhythm more naturally.
Exactly. And that's why even a simple text like "my house" can be powerful, because the rhythm of English, especially American English, is hidden in the small everyday sentences.
Step 2 is preparation. Before you start shadowing, you need 3 things: a clear recording, a transcript, and a quiet place to practice.
Right. And ideally, that recording should be from a native American English speaker, because today we're focusing on that accent.
I usually tell my students to slow down the audio a little at first if they're beginners, then speed it up gradually, but not too slow. You don't want robotic speech.
Yeah, and having the text in front of you, like this "my house" passage, is key. You'll listen, follow along with your eyes, and then shadow.
Okay, let's imagine we're practicing together. The first thing I'd do is read the text aloud naturally, and you'd just listen. Ready?
Go ahead.
Reading smoothly in an American accent, slightly faster than written. My house. I live in a house. My house is small. My house has 2 bedrooms. My sister and I share the other bedroom. My house has a kitchen. My mom and dad cook dinner there every night. My house has a living room. My family watches television there every night. My house has a big bathroom. My house has a lot of closets. My house has a basement. My dad has a workshop in the basement. My dad makes wood furniture. My house does not have a second floor. My house has a garage. My house has a big backyard. My backyard has a maple tree. My backyard has a swimming pool. My backyard has a vegetable garden. My family likes our house. So that's the model. The first step is just to listen carefully to the rhythm. Notice how I stress certain words. My house. I live in a house. My house is small.
Yes, I heard the stress fall on content words. House, live, small, bedrooms, kitchen. Function words like in, a, is are softer. That's the American rhythm.
Now step 4, shadow with me. I'll read again, and this time you jump in, speaking at the same time as me.
Got it.
And so on. That's how shadowing feels, almost like singing along to a song. But for beginners, shadowing an entire passage is overwhelming. That's why we use chunks. Let's practice just the first 3 lines.
Sure. So we do. My house. I live in a house. My house is small.
Exactly. And the idea is to loop those 3 lines until you can say them smoothly in sync with me. Here's where accent training comes in. When I said my house, notice the diphthong in my. It's not flat, ma. It glides, my.
Right. And house ends with the ses sound, not a z. In casual American speech, some people make it sound almost like house.
Good catch. And in I live in a house, the V in live is voiced. It vibrates. Many learners pronounce it like F, but in American English, it's strong.
Yes, and the phrase live in a links together, lavina. That's connected speech, which shadowing helps you master naturally.
Once you're comfortable with 3 lines, add 3 more. Like, my house has 2 bedrooms. My sister and I share the other bedroom. My house has a kitchen.
And again, focus on stress. House, bedrooms, sister, kitchen.
Exactly. The word bedrooms has stress on the first syllable. Bedrooms, not bedrooms.
And kitchen is kitchen. Many learners mistakenly say kitchen, stressing the second syllable. Shadowing fixes this because you copy automatically.
Here's where it gets fun. After practicing slowly, you start shadowing at full native speed.
Right. And you don't need to worry about mistakes. The goal isn't perfection, but rhythm. Your tongue and brain need to feel the beat of American English.
Yes. When I say, my mom and dad cook dinner there every night, notice how it compresses. My mom and dad cook dinner there every night.
Exactly. Americans drop sounds. And becomes N. Every becomes every. Shadowing teaches those reductions naturally.
Next, record your voice while shadowing. Play it back and compare with the model.
Done this. At first it's painful. You hear mistakes you didn't know you made, but it's the fastest way to improve.
Yes, because shadowing isn't just listening. It's producing. The recording shows you if your rhythm matches. Let's add emotion. When I say my family likes our house, I smile and sound proud. Can you hear it?
Definitely. Intonation matters. If you shadow without emotion, you sound robotic.
Try. My backyard has a swimming pool, with excitement.
My backyard has a swimming pool.
Perfect. American English is full of intonation shifts. Shadowing trains your voice to go up and down naturally.
Shadowing can be tiring. Even 3 minutes can make you sweat.
Yes, that's normal. Start small, maybe 1 minute a day, and build up. By the time you can shadow this entire My House passage smoothly, your fluency will have jumped levels. Final step. Take the shadowing skill and apply it to other materials. Movies, podcasts, speeches.
I recommend news anchors. Their speech is clear, rhythmic, and very American.
Yes, and once you can shadow those, everyday conversations become much easier. So to recap our step-by-step guide, understand shadowing. Prepare text and audio. Listen first. Shadow with the model. Practice in chunks. Focus on American sounds. Expand gradually. Increase speed. Record yourself. Add emotion. Build endurance. Apply to real life.
And today we used the simple My House passage to illustrate every step. It might look easy, but when you shadow it carefully, you're building the muscles for a natural American accent.
Exactly. And the beauty is you can do this at home, every day, for free. All you need is your voice, your ears, and a text.
Thanks for having me, Linda. I hope learners out there will give shadowing a try.
Thank you, George. And thank you, listeners. Remember, practice every day, keep shadowing, and soon you'll sound more and more American. See you next time.